Hey guys, we're here at the PS Seasoning Culinary Center. My name is Jed Hanson, and today we're going to work on carving a rotisserie chicken. So here we have our rotisserie chicken. These are often found in grocery stores or local markets, already cooked and hot that you can bring home. This one we actually roasted here in our ovens with cock-a-doodle brew seasoning, and we're going to carve it up for you. So one of the things, if you make a rotisserie or a roasted chicken at home, is you want to let it rest. Resting for 10 to 15 minutes after it's done baking will ensure that all those juices and flavors that are in the bird go back into the meat. If you don't rest, those will drain out as you're cutting up and you'll lose a lot of flavor. So today I have two knives. I have the classic chef knife, and this is going to be used to more break down larger pieces of the bird. I also have a boning knife. This one I'm going to use as more carving when we start to take out the breast. But first thing we're going to do is we're going to take off the string that was used to tie. You go right between the legs right there, and there you are. Just make sure you get all that string off because you don't want any of that ending up in the food. So the first thing you want to do with the chicken, if you make it at home especially, is there are chances that there's some sort of stuffing in the bird. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that out. We put some herbs and a lemon in ours, and you're going to discard that. You can use it for your sauce later if you want. So the first step that we're going to do is we're going to take our chef knife, and there's some very thin skin right here that goes along the quarters of the legs. So we're going to take our knife and we're going to cut that open. You don't have to go deep and you don't have to push hard. It should cut very easily. And then all you're going to do is you're going to take this with your hand and you're going to break that, and the quarter should just come off like that. Next, we're going to do the same to the other side. Just take that skin, cut it down, and then using your hand, you're going to twist it off, and that meat is going to be nice and juicy and tender, and it should break right off. Next, we're going to work on taking off the wings. And it's kind of the same premise. Right here, you can see the joints, okay? And we're going to take our chef knife, we're going to cut around that skin a little bit, not too deep. And once again, we're going to take our hand, we're just going to break that joint off, and juice is going everywhere, but there's your wing. And we're going to do the same thing over here. Just cut into that skin so you open it up so you can see the joint. And this one broke off a little bit because that chicken is really nice and tender and juicy. So we'll break off that bone, and that can actually be discarded because there's no meat on there. So now we're going to switch knives because we're going to start working on the breasts. We're going to take our boning knife, and what I like to do first is I take the chicken skin off. I'm not going to throw it away because that is one of the best parts of the chicken, but in order to get to the meat and see the lines, we're going to take that skin off, and that should just peel right off. And then what I'll do is I will cut this into little pieces so everybody can get a little bit. In my house, this is the part we all fight over. All right, so now we've exposed the breasts, and what we're going to do is the breastbone right here kind of goes like this, down and under the breasts. So we're going to take our knife, we're going to find that breastbone, and we're going to gently start carving as close to that breastbone as we can. And then you can take your thumb, kind of just start working it. Over here, you're going to have the wishbone. You're going to have to carve around that as well. But if you take your knife downward motion like that and kind of swoop it around, that should come off just fine. Now, the chicken breast, if you want, you can use your knife in here, if you're careful with your fingers, to scrape that away from the breastbone. And then this is actually boneless. So unlike these other pieces that we've already cut, this you can cut big chunks like that to keep it juicy, and then set that aside for serving. Now you'll see a lot of people, especially with Thanksgiving, because the breakdown is very similar to a turkey, you'll see people kind of shave like that. You don't want to do that. That'll lead to very thin slices, and that'll lead to very dry poultry. So what you want to do is you want to cut a bigger hunk like this, because you can see that juice stays in there really well. All right, so again, We're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to find that breastbone. We're going to cut down like that. And then this one, I'm just going to use my hand. I'm just going to use my thumb and run it down that bone. It can be pretty hot, so if you use gloves, that helps. And then you get down here and it just pulls right off. Get to that bone, and there you are. And once again, you want those nice, big, thick cuts. And set that aside for serving. Now, one last piece that you'll see a lot of people talk about is once you flip this over, there's this little piece of meat right here on either side of the backbone. That's called the oyster. A lot of people like that. It's one of the juiciest and most flavorful spots, because when you're roasting the chicken like that, all those flavors and the fats kind of braise that little piece of meat. This piece, you don't need a knife, you just need your fingers. You go in there and break that little piece off. It's called the oyster because it kind of looks like an oyster, but very flavorful. All right, so here we have our chicken quarters with our thigh and our drumstick. We've got our wings, so a little bit of extra skin, and our sliced boneless breasts. If you use this method, you should really be able to take advantage of all the meat that is on that rotisserie chicken. Thanks again for joining us. I'm Chef Jed here at the PS Seasoning Culinary Center.